Working the night shift is a double-edged sword. Quiet hours, higher pay, fewer distractions. But beneath the stillness lies something unsettling. The world feels different at night, like reality thins. Shadows stretch longer, sounds echo deeper, and sometimes things creep into the silence that were never meant to be seen. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more scary stories. This happened just last December. I work overnight IT for a mid-sized finance company downtown. Boring gig, mostly quiet. My job was to monitor system health, patch servers, and keep the network running smoothly while everyone else slept. The kind of job where nothing ever really happens. Except something did. I was 3 days away from a long-awaited vacation, a week in Cabo. No alarms, no glowing screens, just beach and rum. That night, my last Friday shift, I came in ready to coast. Brought snacks, queued up some music, figured I'd binge half a season of Deadwood between updates. It was just me and one other guy in the building, Marcus. He handled overnight software audits on the 3rd floor. We usually barely spoke, but we were on friendly terms. That night, he brought pizza. We shared a few slices in the break room around 1:30 a.m., cracked jokes about how soul-sucking the job was. By 2:45, I was in the server room, watching progress bars crawl across the monitor. Nothing out of the ordinary until the first sound. It was faint, like a whimper. I thought maybe someone left a TV on in the break room. I stepped out, checked. Nothing. But the hallway lights flickered, and when I came back, one of the monitors was off. It had been showing stable temps for rack number 5. No errors. But now it was black. No warning, no shutdown message. Just dead. I tapped it. Tried the power button. Nothing. Then the whimpering came again. Only now it was louder and closer, like it was coming from inside the server racks. I stood still, listening. It wasn't just sound. It had this texture, like someone breathing too close behind you. I backed away. Tried to laugh it off. Probably a busted cooling fan, playing tricks on my ears. Then my radio crackled. "Hey," Marcus said, voice strained. "I gotta go. Family emergency." My phone just lit up, it's bad. I told him no problem. He apologized, said he'd owe me one, and left. That was around 3 a.m. 10 minutes later, every screen in the server room flickered. Monitors flashed static for 2 seconds, then cut out, one by one, until I was surrounded by darkness. And then the servers started humming. Not the normal fan whir or hard drive ticks. This was deeper, organic, like dozens of low voices chanting just below the frequency of comprehension. My teeth buzzed with it. I grabbed a flashlight and shined it down the main aisle of racks. That's when I saw the handprint, smudged across the glass door to rack number 5. Human-sized, but wrong. The fingers were too long, with an extra joint that bent the wrong way. And it was wet. Like someone had just pressed a raw piece of meat against the door. I stepped closer, against every instinct in my body. Behind the glass, something moved. Just for a split second. A shadow, twisting. It vanished the moment the light hit it. My flashlight started to flicker, so I ran back to the control station, trying to reboot the monitors. Then the screaming started. It came through the intercom system, our internal PA used only for fire drills. But instead of the pre-recorded voice, it was Marcus, screaming, begging for help. "Please, it's not letting me leave. It's in the walls." Then static. Then silence. I tried to radio him. Nothing. I called his cell, straight to voicemail. I checked the security cams, and froze. Every floor showed the same thing. Marcus, standing alone, on all of them. simultaneously. In every feed, he was just standing there, in the same posture, hands limp at his sides, head tilted, eyes completely black. I hit the emergency building lockdown, thinking maybe we had some deranged hacker or intruder. The system denied access. Every keycard stopped working. I ran to the stairwell. Metal door wouldn't budge. Then the lights died. I was trapped, and I wasn't alone. Back in the server room, the humming was louder, almost rhythmic. It pulsed through my chest like a second heartbeat. Then I saw the shape, crawling through the racks. It was human and not, bent at impossible angles, limbs snapping with every movement. Its skin was slick, like it had been boiled. No face, just a smooth, pulsing surface where features should be. It sensed me. It turned its head toward the sound of my breathing, and it smiled. No mouth. But I felt it smile. I backed into the control desk and knocked over a cup of coffee. The hot liquid spilled into the power junction box, and the world exploded. Not literally, but the sparks flew. Cables lit up like Christmas lights, and then fire. The server racks erupted. Plastic and metal screamed as flames spread across the room. Heat slammed me in the chest. The thing didn't flinch. It walked straight into the blaze, arms wide, and vanished. I stumbled out coughing, clothes smoking. I made it to the emergency exit just as the fire suppression system kicked in. The fire department came. Everyone assumed it was an electrical malfunction. They found no trace of Marcus, no body, no car in the lot, nothing. But on the security logs, they did find one thing. A recording from camera 9, dated 2 hours before the fire. It showed Marcus, standing in the server room, speaking into the camera, not moving his lips, but speaking. In a voice, I swear, was mine. He said, "Welcome back, Dean. The system always restores what it deletes." They said I was lucky, got me therapy, gave me time off. But I don't think they know what really happened. And I know Marcus never left. Because sometimes, when I check my work email late at night, I get messages from his account. Subject line, server room update. No text, just a file attachment. Always the same name. Dean Backup 001.x. And I've stopped trying to open it, because sometimes, when my laptop's asleep, I hear humming. So, this happened just a few months ago. I took a security job at this luxury resort in the Colorado Rockies, Halcyon Hollow. The kind of place rich people go to pretend they're roughing it, but still have heated floors and champagne in the rooms. I was 25, broke, and just needed a roof and some steady pay. They offered both. My shifts were always nights, midnight to 8 a.m., just me, some CCTV monitors, and the occasional walk around the property to show presence. The place was dead after dark. No guests roaming. No late-night parties. Just pure, sterile silence. That was the first red flag. They told me Halcyon Hollow had history. Originally Ridgegate Penitentiary, decommissioned in 1978. It sounded cool until you realized over 30 inmates and staff died in a fire there. No one knows what started it. Some bodies were never found. Classic spooky backstory. But I didn't believe in ghosts, so whatever. First week, everything felt normal. Until my fourth shift. I was doing my rounds outside, walking past the old stone wall that used to surround the prison yard. It was nearly 3 a.m. I remember the time, exactly. My flashlight flickered, and then I heard it. A scream. Faint, distant, definitely female. It came from near the spa. I sprinted there, radio crackling with static the whole time. I expected to find a guest or maybe an animal, but the spa was locked up, lights off. When I looked through the glass, I swear I saw a woman inside, long black hair, bare feet, just standing there. I blinked. She was gone. I went back to the office, watched the camera feeds. Nothing. Next night, I saw her again. This time on the monitor, standing in the hallway of the old West Wing. That part of the resort was still being renovated, supposedly. No guests allowed. No reason for anyone to be there. Except, there she was, facing the wall. I froze, watching. She turned slowly toward the camera. No face. Just smooth, stretched skin where features should have been. Like a wax mask pulled too tight. I ran to the West Wing. Empty. But the air was ice cold, and the hallway smelled like burnt plastic. I started asking questions. Subtle ones. The resort manager, this creepy guy named Caldwell, just said, "There are echoes in old buildings. Don't let them distract you. Echoes don't slam doors behind you when you walk into a boiler room. Echoes don't write words and steam on the mirror like stay." After that, every night was worse. Voices on the radio. Old inmate numbers echoing from the vents. Cameras glitching with images of empty cells and blood-smeared walls. Feeds that shouldn't exist. I started seeing people. Or remnants of people. One time I walked past the banquet hall and saw it full of men in prison jumpsuits, eating silently at long metal tables. No one moved. No one breathed. I blinked, and they were gone. I wasn't sleeping. I stopped eating. I kept working because I felt trapped, like something wouldn't let me leave. Then came the final night, the night it all made sense. I got a call on the security phone. No caller ID, just static. Then a voice I hadn't heard before. "Time for head count 3-1-7. That number chilled me. 317. It meant nothing. Until I checked the old prison logs I found in a locked cabinet. Inmate 317, Luke Anders, convicted of murder, died in the 1978 fire. Except, get this, he didn't actually die. His body was never found. They assumed he burned, but the report said, inconclusive. I looked up his mugshot. It was me. Same face, same scar on the jaw, same dead stare. I thought maybe it was a joke, an identity mistake. But then I started remembering things. Flashes, bars, screams, fire, being dragged downstairs, being buried alive in ash and rubble. That's when it hit me. I wasn't hired, I was returned. This job wasn't a job, it was a sentence, a loop. Halcyon Hollow doesn't hire security guards. It resurrects its inmates, rebuilds them, puts them in uniforms, and gives them just enough memory to function, to watch over the others. I was Luke Anders. I died in Ridgegate, or at least most of me had. Now, I was property of the Hollow, just like the faceless woman, just like the silent men in the banquet hall, just like the guards before me, who all vanished after a few weeks, replaced by another desperate soul who thought it was just a job. I tried to leave. I grabbed my bag, ran out to the parking lot. But the road didn't exist anymore, just forest. And behind me, the resort loomed higher than before, dark windows blinking like eyes. I ran into the woods, sprinted for what felt like miles. Then I came back out onto the lot, standing right where I started. And in the reflection of the front doors, I saw myself, wearing the orange jumpsuit. No security badge, no face, just hollow skin and a number, 317. If you ever see a job posting for Halcyon Hollow Resort, run. If they say you're hired, you're already lost. Because you don't work for Halcyon Hollow. You serve your time. I never believed in ghost stories or creepy rumors, especially not the ones told around the locker room at Hollowgate Steelworks. You'd think guys working around molten metal and greasy gears wouldn't scare so easily, but they had this weird superstition about the night shift. They'd call it the devil shift. Said the machines sometimes ran themselves. That if you looked too long at the reflection in the molten pool, you'd see something else looking back. All jokes, I thought. Until last November when I found out just how real it all was. I'm a mechanical engineer. Been with the company for about 6 years. Normally I work mornings, but the guy who handled third shift maintenance, Tommy, suddenly retired. Just up and quit one day. Didn't say goodbye. No party. Just gone. I agreed to cover his shift temporarily. Extra pay, quiet hours. Seemed like a decent trade-off. The first couple nights were uneventful. Cold, quiet. Occasionally eerie, but only because the whole place echoed like a cathedral of rust and old regrets. The factory was massive, with high ceilings, endless rows of machinery, and thick shadows that swallowed your flashlight beam if you turned the wrong corner. The cameras were old, and the monitors glitched constantly. The locker room smelled like mildew and burnt rubber, but still, normal factory weirdness. Then came Friday. That night started like any other. I clocked in at 11:56 p.m., grabbed a stale coffee from the break room, and went to do my routine equipment checks. I remember thinking how quiet it was, even for the night shift. Usually I'd at least hear the hum of the forge, or the clank of a robot arm resetting. But that night, nothing. Dead silence. Around 1:15 a.m., I was near Line 7, the assembly section that hadn't been in use since the pandemic layoffs. A motion sensor light flicked on. I froze. Something had triggered it. But the line was decommissioned. Shouldn't be any movement there. I crept forward, wrench in one hand, flashlight in the other. That's when I saw it. Not someone. Something. It looked like a worker. Helmet, steel-toed boots, heavy gloves. But the way it moved, jerky, too fast. Like it was skipping frames in a video game. It ducked behind a press machine before I could get a clear look. I called out, "Hey, you're not supposed to be back there." No response. Just the metallic creak of something shifting. I walked around the corner. Nothing. But a smear of blood on the floor, leading into a utility hallway that was supposed to be locked. I checked the door. Unlocked. At this point, I was rattled. I should have called security or left, but why? But my curiosity overrode common sense. The hallway led to an old furnace room, out of commission for years, mostly used for storage, except it wasn't empty. There was a faint glow from behind the furnace units. I followed it and found a metal door. Thick, reinforced, like it belonged in a bunker. A keypad was embedded next to it. As I stared at it, the panel beeped, and the door unlocked itself. I should have turned and ran. Instead, I stepped inside. The room was cold, colder than anywhere else in the building, and it smelled like antiseptic and old blood. It wasn't a furnace room anymore. It was something else. There were tables, metal ones, stained and rusted, surgical tools scattered across them. Chains hung from the ceiling, and on the walls were photos. Hundreds of them. Each one showed workers, sleeping, eating, in the locker room. Some looked recent, others were yellowed with age, and in each photo circled in red was one person. Me. I staggered back. My heart was pounding so hard I couldn't hear anything else. Until I did. A click. Behind me. The door was closing. I lunged for it, but too late. It slammed shut and the keypad went dark. I was trapped. Then, I heard the humming. Low. Mechanical. Followed by a whisper. "You're this week's specimen." A figure stepped into the light. Not the one I saw before. This one had no helmet. Just a pale, slick face, eyes hidden behind welding goggles. Skin so pale, it looked like it hadn't seen sunlight in years. It wasn't a ghost. It was a man. Or it had been once. "Tommy?" I asked, barely able to speak. He smiled. "Close enough." He held a bone saw. Said nothing else. I backed into the table and grabbed a wrench. He lunged. We struggled. The saw grazed my arm, burned like fire. I smashed the wrench into his side and managed to slip past him as he recoiled. I punched the keypad. It didn't work. But when I smashed the screen with the wrench, the lock popped. I bolted, ran until I couldn't breathe. I called the cops from the parking lot. They came. And here's the worst part. They found nothing. No hidden room, no photos, just some old storage and decommissioned units. But I know what I saw, what I fought. I checked the employee records later. Tommy didn't retire. He was marked transferred. So were 8 other workers over the last 10 years. All night shift. All temporary substitutions. Nobody ever came back. Now I know the truth. There's someone in that factory, maybe more than one, using the cover of night to do something unspeakable. Harvesting, experimenting, collecting. And every time someone laughs about the devil's shift, I smile along with them. But I never take night duty again, because I know the devil punches in at midnight, and next time, he might not let me out.